In this video, I'll show you.
All right, guys, I'm coming on. This is going to be half real estate investing, half prepping for what's coming. Just let me get all my streams up on my Facebook page, my YouTube channel, Periscope. Finally got people on Periscope. You just got to be consistent with Periscope, and people start joining in. The YouTube channel's lit, though. I think it's because it's anonymous. People just chime in and talk way more. Maybe because it's not like, unlike Facebook, your face is seen in your profile, but YouTube is always lit. Hey, Ace V, what's up? It was a good day today. I'm tired because I'm preparing for all this, but it was a good day. Ace V is on my YouTube channel. All right, let me just get this last Facebook channel up from my Facebook private page. Facebook can get real clunky and buggy. It's so disgustingly slow. I'm barely on Facebook, but I got like 5,000 friends, so I know half, like, quote unquote friends. Know like 500 of them. But I know sometimes people will dip in and just want to find out what's going on in the real estate world or the prepping world. All right, so it looks like we're good there. I can see the comments for Facebook. I can see them for Periscope. Hey, if you want to say something in Periscope, let me know who you are. This is going to be half real estate investing and what my advice is going to be and how I see it based on the history lessons. And it's going to be half prepping because that's been going over really well with my community. So we are going to just keep that up. All right. If you're on Facebook, let me know who you are. And we will start. Let me see. Yeah, okay. That's good for now. Can I do it? No, it's not. It's not. All right, guys. Well, you know what? I'm going to go for it. Let me add one more stream and see if I can do it. Because if I can get my Facebook group, which has 9,600 investors, that would mean I don't have to redo this one in the group, which would just save me time. Let's see if we can do that. And then we're going to start, because I learned some really good stuff. You're going to like this one. Ooh, so much opportunity. All right, it did not let me connect. Okay, I can't do two different Facebooks at the same time. That's okay. I'll just do it again in my Facebook group. Oh no. Oh, there we go. Hey guys! How are you guys doing today? So let's get started. So some of you guys are going to see this who don't know who I am. My name is Lisa Phillips. I'm a real estate investor. I have a platform where I teach thousands of investors of how to invest in properties. I develop a strategy of going into lower income and working class neighborhoods. They're very low cost. The houses that we look up cost anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 in beautiful working class and lower income neighborhoods. We're going to talk about how that strategy has really been helpful for the pandemic. So the strategy, you can't miss with the strategy. And I absolutely love it that we were targeting communities that people were afraid of, but not only has that worked for us as it being cheaper to acquire the properties, but also just in the fact that it is the people in our properties are dealing with this recession in a very interesting way because they are working class or Section 8, right? Both have different security blankets, especially now and especially with the stimulus. So we're going to talk about that. But the strategy can't miss, which is why I have a Facebook group with 9,600 black investors, mostly black investors. You should join it. Every day they're posting, I bought this house for 10,000, 20,000, 30. It's amazing. We're constantly winning and people don't even know it, which is how I sort of want to keep it, because I only want certain types of people to win with this strategy, because we are going into vulnerable neighborhoods. I have to make sure that you're not the kind of person who doesn't care about the people, who cares about the community, and want to provide an affordable place, not just gentrify because you're scared of minorities or black people, okay? So we don't want those kind of people. But those who have a bigger mind about it, that you can be both profitable and compassionate, those are the people I want to attract, and I will chase all of you all. And trust me, I know what kind of person you are. You can't hide it. If you really don't care about anything but yourself, you're really going to let it go. And it's not even hard for me to sniff you out. And they get booted. So, and because I've been like that, we have a really great group. So, so I got you on YouTube. Okay, cool. Facebook. There we go. Periscope. Y'all hanging in there, aren't you? Okay. Let me get rid of that one. And we'll just focus here. So let me know if you can hear me, but let's start. So in general, I'm doing a prepper series. I started with my email list, but I got like, I think about 2,000 people open the emails, and I got 100 replies saying, thank you, this is helpful. So at the end, I'm going to go into my preparedness series, because I found that I'm a real estate investor, but I'm also a prepper. There's just something in my heart that knew this system isn't sustainable. It's not okay. It's not one with nature. It's not one with people. It relies on big mass production of food that's unhealthy. Like none of what the system that we were inherited by the boomers worked for us. So I just sort of knew in my heart, this isn't sustainable. It's going to come crashing down. And I think a lot of preppers, and that's what they call us, like preppers, we're very much into preparedness. We're very intuitive. There's just something in us that's like, oh, this is going to come to a head. I think it's intuition, because I looked up and realized I'm perfectly prepared for all of this, and my family's been swimming. And I know it's just because inside I was just like, nope, we got to prepare. No, we have to do this. So let's talk about, first I want to talk about real estate investing, because some very interesting things have been happening. Okay, so first off, I want to talk about my strategy. Then I want to talk about lessons from the recession and lessons from the depression. Then I want to talk about stocks. I'll say I'm not a financial advisor, but some screwy stuff is going off with stocks, and I want you to, like, if you can, transfer your money into safe havens, because this rally makes absolutely no sense in your 401k and stock market. And I just want to share some of the things I've been doing, and then I'll get to the preparedness. So much to talk about. So let's talk about the real estate investing strategy, the sub 30K. So for those who don't know me, I do sub 30K. So we look at low cost housing in working class and lower income neighborhoods. I have found personally, for the properties and rentals I do have, we have fixed income and we have teachers. We have people who are on Section 8, where the money's going to be paid every month regardless. Or we have working class tenants who were laid off, so they're getting the enhanced unemployment. So it's very much interesting that this demographic we into, it does have a few safety nets, either through UI, Social Security, or the type of jobs that are like teaching. One of them's a teacher, right? They get paid regardless, right? And it's very interesting that not only did we get this at a lower price because we focus on neighborhoods no one else wants to go into, but it's beautiful that during a recession, there are some safety nets. So Section 8, you're going to get paid on time. Social Security, you're going to get paid on time. Disability, they're the ones who tend to be in these neighborhoods. You're going to get paid on time. And unemployment, usually the people who are in our houses are mechanics and tenant or mechanics, insurance adjusters, and most of them do readily get the unemployment insurance. Because of the nature of this beast, we're getting enhanced unemployment insurance. Let me know if you can't hear me or anything. And because of that, it's so beautiful because they at least have a 6 month to 9 month cushion. And that's if it's not extended, which with the way this is heading, I think they're going to try to manipulate those markets, and we'll get more into that later. So I wouldn't be surprised if we had another stimulus with the unemployment, because it did catch so many Americans and kept a roof over their heads and food on the table. I see the streaming sort of stopped for a second, but let me know how you guys are doing, if you can hear me. Sketcher69 on Facebook. I'm trying to load my Facebook, but it's really slow. So if you're posting questions on Facebook, I'm gonna go to my phone and see if I could see them. Okay. Anything for Facebook so far? Okay, so that is what's... Oh, you can't see my face? Crystal, on Facebook? Okay. You can't see me, Cosmic Wisdom? Okay. It is buffering right now. Let me see what's going on with this. If this doesn't do well, I'm recording this on my broadcasting streaming software. Okay, good. Okay. And so I can always upload that, which is going to catch everything regardless of the buffer. Okay, good, good. Cosmic Wisdom, if you can see me, everyone else can too. All right, then. Let me just refresh that. All right, so yeah, so it's very cool that like a lot of the investors in my group, as I mentioned in my first series about being a leader, are being very proactive about working with their clients. And, you know, it's just not doom and gloom in our place. You know, it's very much we're handling and managing the situation and being leaders about it, meaning being proactive about talking to them. So that's as far as that's concerned. Now, I was actually looking up the Great Depression and the Great Recession because I think we're heading into the Great Depression. The numbers actually, outside of the stock market crash, which I'm sure is coming, we're basically seeing the same thing. So during the Depression, they had long food lines out the door. They had 60,000 at the food bank in New York, okay? They had 800 cars outside the food banks in Michigan. So in the Depression, you saw all those people lined up so that they can eat. Well, here, you know, they're lined up, but it looks differently because it's a different age or they're in cars. But we're already at that breaking point. You know what I mean? Where do I want to go with this? Do I want to talk about the history lessons first or go into what I would do? You know, I'll go into the history lessons. So I looked it up and I found out that in America, they said the greatest number of millionaires ever made was made during the Depression. Why? And this is going to go into what we do because we're investors. Well, when all these people lost their jobs, all the housing prices fell. People got kicked out of their homes. They couldn't make the payments because there's no jobs. So there were all these unemployed people, but there weren't businesses who can get access to the credit so that they can make more businesses, right? So all the people who came back, so all the people who came and wanted to get work, even when the worst part of it was over, they couldn't find the jobs. And so people were being foreclosed on. We saw a lot of that in 2008-9 with the housing bubble. Now, this is very important for my group to understand because I don't care what they say, things are not fine. Okay? Because after we get through this 9 months or the 26 weeks plus the 13 weeks, like, you know, I guess that's through September now for a lot of people, of unemployment benefits, it's going to be really crazy. Because they said right now, they took a poll and they said 43% of small businesses say if they don't get help immediately, they're permanently closing. Now, these are entrepreneurs and business owners. You know, most of them will probably come back, but in 5-10 years. So you'll have 5 or 10 years where the people who are driving the economic growth and employing those waiters and farmers and drivers and this and that are going to be completely gone. So that's a whole source of employment. They're going to be gone. So the wages and the employment, in order to afford it, they can't just keep giving us stimulus money out of this, right? At the end of the day, we have to go back to production. But 8 months from now, you think the virus is going to completely go away? You think we're going to eradicate it? I don't. I think some people, you know what I mean? I think we're going to try to still be flattening the curve, and it's just going to pop up in different places. One, now it's in New York, but maybe 4 months from now, it's really bad in Ohio, right? Or it's really bad in Mississippi, or it's really bad in Texas. So there's a 4-month lag, right? So I don't see how this goes back to normal anytime soon. So I'm looking at Great Depression. I'm looking at unemployment and not being able to afford houses. And the reason people became millionaires during that time was through real estate, not through flipping, but buying and holding. Because at the end of the day, all the housing prices fell. So they were 30% to 50%. So it's very interesting because some people are approaching me with deals right now. And I'm like, I'm not buying anything right now. My advice and what I'm just personally going to do, I'm going to wait 12 months to 24 months out and see what happens. Do we go back to work? Are we going to shake anything out? Because if what looks like it's going to happen, then we want to shake that out before you purchase again. Because the person who wants you to buy a multifamily unit right now for $500,000 might be one for $250,000. You know what I mean? In 18 months when the defaults just rise. So of course this is speculative. The only thing that can change the course of this is if the government interferes. For instance, in 2009, during that crisis through 2017, banks were just, the downward pressure on prices because all these foreclosed properties, banks were just trying to get them off their books, Well, about 4 years in, the banks actually stopped putting all their houses on the market to slow down the supply, which helps stabilize the prices a little bit. So there are ways that you can sort of do it by holding back supply, but you also need to understand too, I just heard that Chase and some other major bankers are starting to say they'll only do home loans to people who can put 20% down. That is not sustainable at housing prices at $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. The market of people who have $40,000 to $100,000 to put down on a house to own a home is very small. So it indicates to me that Chase Banks and the others like them following suit don't even want to be in that business. It's a very small market. I know the houses I've purchased, it was 5 to 10%. Myself, just personally, for the last 2 houses, I know the people who purchased my house, it was 5 to 10%. Not one person put 20% down. That's just a very long haul for people. I know in other countries you have to either pay all cash, and so home ownership's a very hard thing to obtain. So I guess it would all fall on Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac and FHA financing. So so it's very interesting because if more home mortgage lenders follow suit, what that just means is that the market's going to be very small of buyers who can afford 20% down at these housing prices. What that means is that if you have a very small number of buyers and a ton of houses available because of the foreclosures, just the natural people who want to sell and liquidate and get their money, foreclosures because of the unemployment and the pandemic, which has stunted job growth, that's going to be an extreme downward pressure on prices. I personally would not buy a house right now. I would wait. We need to shake this off and see what's actually going to happen without all the interference and what is actually the reality, and then you purchase after that. If they're propping it up, good. That means, your tenants, people are able to get housing. So it's not like I'm advocating for it, but the reality is without the government interference, downward pressure with banks tightening up their lending standards, 20% down, and 700 score minimum. That's taking half. What are you going to do? 10% of the population is going to own. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted that, so all the billionaires could snap up the properties. I would not be surprised if that was the goal. And so they could be land barons or, feudal lords, because I don't trust these billionaires, and neither should you. So it's just something to consider. Those rock bottom prices, I see the Depression era lessons are the same as here. A lot of you guys are looking to scoop up some. So I would wait. This is a waiting game to see what's going to happen. I would wait until after all of the economic stimulus is. So I'm thinking 12 months to 24 months, which is good because right now you can just focus on your survival and saving what you can. I mentioned in my email, call all of your credit cards, call all of your mortgage companies, and, you know, get the terms and stuff. Some people said that, like, your mortgage will come due, but, you know, Bank of America was like, we're just going to add on an extra month to your term. It's not going to be due in 3 months. So they were like, you could just pay the escrow and principal if you want. But, you know, they waived it for this month and I got to call them each month. Best believe I'm going to call them next month, right? So save your money right now. Hoard it a little bit. It's your money. Call all your credit card companies. Some credit card companies, the good credit cards that I actually like, they were like, 3 months, you're good. No payment due, right? I mean, that's hundreds of dollars. All right. So I also wanted another story, and I want to get into the stock market. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, okay? This is just what I did, what I saw, how I'm playing it. So I looked up at the Dow yesterday. It was like 23,000. And the last time it was there at like 23,000, it was 2018. In 2018, we didn't have a global pandemic. We didn't have record 17 million unemployed people. We didn't have 43% of businesses saying that they're going to permanently close. Why is the stock market at the same level as it was in March 2018 when the economy was actually good? Why? During this problem. I'll tell you my theory. I think a lot of people with a lot of huge pockets are bumping it up so that all of their rich friends, you know, like the CEO of IBM is on the board of Microsoft, who is on the board of Xerox, who is on the board of, you know, Coca-Cola. They're all like in this little millionaire circle. I think that the powers that be higher than us are propping it up because it makes no sense economically, especially with first quarter earnings like in the dumps because everyone has been staying home. No one's been buying outside of Walmart and Target. I think they're propping it up so that their friends can cash out. I cashed out. And my thought was this, look, my portfolio was at a highest. I did not lose a dime. There's no reason for it to be that high. If it was a natural correction, that would be, you know, 25% lower. You know, but, you know, someone's inflating this so that they're, to me, I think billionaires can do that. I think they can make the phone calls and go buy, you know, put, you know, a billion here, a billion there to keep this propped up. I think they can. You don't have to agree with me, but they're doing it so their little entourage can cash out, you know, because they weren't going to keep it that low and everybody lost all that money, 30% of their value, of their shareholder value. No, that's not going to happen. So that's what I think. I actually took the cash off my table. Stocks are about 25% of my portfolio. And it was high, so I didn't lose any money. And it was the highest it's ever been. It was all, you know, you lost your, you know, your max, and like it was at its maximum. And I took it off, and here's my thinking. I can always rebuy in a year. But I want to see what happens as the unemployment mounts. I want to see as we don't reopen. I want to see as first quarter earnings come out. I want to see what happens for Facebook and for Google when no one's buying ads, which is a significant portion of their earnings report. I want to see what happens because to me, I don't see how it doesn't end in a depression. We're already at the depression level. Without the stimulus, it would sustain itself. And like I said, the government, I think, is going to do a lot of things to prop us up so we don't go there. So, you know, take it for what it is. If they were not helping, we would fall. They are going to consistently help. But then I have another concern with them printing 3.5 trillions over the last month, and how many more trillions they're just going to write a check for to keep us afloat. But every single other country is just writing billions and billions of support, and no one's working. Like, how much do you borrow from when no one's ready to buy? So I personally, if I have a solo 401k, and so that's where my stocks are. So I took all the money off the table. I'll pay my taxes on it. But I'll just have that cash liquid for either buying property a year from now, or I can rebuy the stocks. So I'm just speculating because of everything I'm seeing that it is like here now artificially, and it's going to be here. All right. Extreme. Let me see. I want you to see my hands. I think it's going to be an extreme drop. And that's when I want to purchase. When all those quarterly earning reports across the board are low. That's when I want to purchase at rock bottom. There's another story about a town. It was called Quincy. I think it was Quincy, Tennessee. And during the Great Depression, Coca-Cola prices had fallen from $40 a share to $20 a share. And there's a banker who saw that people, even though it was a depression, people were still spending their money on Coca-Cola. So he was like, this is a good buy, right? It's like if you bought Target or Walmart. Like, those are going to make it. Dollar Tree, Target, Walmart, Amazon. I mean, the only 4 people we're buying from right now, yeah, they'll probably make it. And so he got 67 families, and it was very interesting because he got, 67 white families, right? Like, because, segregation. So now there's like really extreme poverty and they're on top and like mostly minorities on the bottom. It's like, yeah, another example of how the wealth gap started and how it self-perpetuates. So keep that in mind. So he had 67 family to invest in Coca-Cola when it was $20 a share. But what it was doing was giving $8 in dividends. I don't know if that was a month or quarter. I think it might have been monthly, which was a lot of money. So during the Depression, the people who had went in on Coca-Cola, even though the stock price fell, the dividends stayed high. So that's just another point for looking for dividend owning stocks, although I'm not purchasing anything now until I think I'll wait a year for now before I do it. Like I said, if I don't use it for stocks, I'll just use it to purchase a house when the housing supply is really starting to shake loose and lower its prices, right? So I went either way. And so what happened was all these people during the Depression, this town was okay because of the dividends from Coca-Cola. And they said they looked at 1996 that the people in this town of Quincy own about $375 million worth of stock in Coca-Cola. So they have like a Coca-Cola parade, right? So it was just sort of funny because I was reading that and it's like, wow, during the Depression, there is an opportunity for those who are in position. Of course, if you're the one losing your home, and I was like this in 2009, I lost my home to foreclosure, so like, I've been there. Right? So I know sometimes you're in a position where you're not exactly where you want to be monetarily, but it's very interesting to know if you are working that if we wait to see how this shakes loose, there might be some really lucrative opportunities. So that's what I wanted to get on the real estate investing and the home and lending side of things. So any questions before I start the preparedness? So I'm going to look at YouTube. Cosmic Wisdom says, I'm very fortunate. He bought his first rental and it's Section 8. Basically all of, like, that's the story of us who focused on this lower income demographic. We're basically seeing there's more safety nets and there's a lot more. So it's the people at the top who may not be as stable, right? If your rent's $1,600 or $2,400 and you're on unemployment, it's just not the same as when your rent's $700, $800, or $900, right? Because unemployment can cover that. So he says, and it's Section 8. So I cash flow with the $570 from HUD, regardless if my tenant pays portion or not. Right? And I've had Section 8, and sometimes the tenant portion is like $100, and sometimes it's like, you just, you're like, we're not going to get that. Barnell Noel says, congrats. I'm still saving up for my first Section 8 property. He says to Cosmic Wisdom, I'll take the day off to get my Section 8 certification. All right. We got time. Hi, Natasha. Barnell says, Homer Hoyt, our economist, states there is a real estate cycle and price drop every 18 years and every 2 years after a recession. Okay. Cosmic Wisdom saying, I agree. I'm waiting to see before buying another rental, but most mortgages for rentals require 20% or down for payment for reserves anyway. Yes, I'm talking about for like first time home, like for home buyers. They're tightening up, which is going to severely limit the market, which if there's not a lot of buyers and there's the regular amount of sellers, in addition to all the foreclosed properties, well, guess what? The housing prices have to fall down and, it's a buyer's market, and the housing prices are going to fall because there's going to be way more sellers than buyers, right? Big Willie says, thanks for the killer content. Thank you. I've been doing I'm tired right now. I've just been researching and analyzing and looking at my own experience and the experience of my group and looking at historical. And I'm like, okay, we're good. We are good, but we have to wait and be patient. Let's shake. It's like when you shake a tree. As long as the stimulus is going through, that's something that's keeping people afloat. You're not really seeing what could happen. Marnell Noel said, preach. Ebony Hill says, what's some good material to read about learning to buy stocks? You know what? I haven't read any books, but there is someone I follow who is very, very clever. Her name is Tila Holcomb, right? So I think even her Instagram page is fire. Let me see. I'll put it in the Tila Holcomb. Let me see if I can find her Instagram. Holcomb, is it a B? And then I'll post it. Holcomb Instagram. Ooh. They have her net worth. Tila Holcomb net worth. hope they don't have my net worth up there. How would they even know, though? Here, this is the person I follow. She's melanated like me. A lot of magic there. The thing is, when you're black and you're getting into the money game, most of us didn't come from wealth. And so we had to think of things no one else was talking about in order to be successful. So you're going to get just more innovative, down-to-earth materials because we don't come from wealth. So we had to cobble together different things to learn this. It wasn't straight. Hey, author. Nice to see you. I hope your properties are going okay. Over it says Tila Holcomb also has a YouTube. Yeah, check her out. Check her out. So that's anytime she's on, I listen. I just learn so much. She talks about, don't buy until we're done falling. How do you know you're falling? She teaches you how to read the candle graph so you know when we're on an upward swing again. But don't do it. You know how to look at big cells and small cells. Natasha asked if I had $1,000, what would I invest in at this time? Someone asked if I wanted to do day trading. Oh, shoot. No. Hard assets. Gold. I wanted to mention that. I have a solo 401k. So if I had a mutual fund or 401k and this artificial inflation of this very high stock market and what's going on, I would transfer, if I had a 401k with a company, all my money into treasuries. Preferably, I would do money market, but they got rid of money market. I don't actually like treasuries because I think what if we have an economic collapse, which I don't even think is impossible at this point, the way we're just printing money without the production to back it up. Can't just do that. China and Russia's not going to buy our treasury bonds forever. Yeah, I would transfer to a safe haven and wait. That's just me. But gold, yeah, $1,000. Actually bought gold. It's at the bank in a bank deposit. With your 401k, solo 401k, you can invest in precious metals like American Gold Eagles, and I got that. I got a limited edition. It's a picture of a black woman on it, the mint made, which is really beautiful. So it's American gold coin. With this black woman on it. It's the American Liberty series. I thought that was really cute. She had dreads too. So I was like, okay, go ahead, U.S. Mint. When are we going to get this Harriet Tubman 20? Because I want that 20, all right? I think I was going to buy the stamp so you can make the stamp of Harriet Tubman because the Trump administration in Munich just automatically put it back. These white males didn't want a black female on these dollar bills. What a surprise, So, yeah, so that is what's going on. That's what I would invest in because I bought gold about 4 weeks ago. I can barely buy it, first of all. So first of all, when it comes to gold, all the miners have stopped because of either protests, which happens because people stop messing up our lands. I think one of the Newcomb Mining is one of the biggest miners, and they're down in Ecuador, or I think it was Ecuador, and they got protested because they wanted to take 4 of the lake reservoirs and reroute them to dams that they own. And the people were like, that's going to ruin our water supply. They should protest because of that. So all of the major miners are shutting down due to protests, which are pretty normal until they pay people off. But they're also getting sick with COVID. So the places that I go to a couple places, APMEX. I go to this local place called Jefferson Coin in Charlottesville, Virginia. And I also went to Jam Bullion. These are 3 places I purchased before, and they're reputable. And you can't just purchase gold anywhere, right? Because some people will take your money and run. But those are the 3 places that I purchased. I could barely find some, and the U.S. Mint, the mint will be a little bit more expensive. But I paid the premium for that beautiful gold piece with the black woman on it. Even if it's a tenth of an ounce or a quarter ounce, and put in your safety deposit box at the bank. Not on me, so don't try to jack me. I got security. And it's not here, okay? It's at the bank. So that's what I would do. I bought at $1,500. I think it's at $1,690 now within 3 weeks. Gold and cryptocurrency is a safe haven right now, especially gold because everyone around the world is looking like this is economic collapse territory, worldwide economic fiat currency collapse. And gold can retain its value. So that is where it is, and it already appreciated in price. So if I sold it again today, I would make a profit from 3 weeks, but I'm in it for the long haul. I want to see how it shakes out with all these countries just printing money as if there's no consequences to that. So yeah, I would do that. And I also, under the CARES Act, you can withdraw from your 401k if it's a COVID related hardship without taking the 10% penalty. You still have to add the income, but you can add the income, I think, over 3 years. You can look it up, CARES and 401k, if you want to get the details. I actually withdrew some and I bought a solar powered generator just because I think we're going into a really bad situation. They're talking about food shortages. We just had tornadoes, like in very severe weather, just come through. I thought I'd lose all of the food that's in my fridge. I'm like, I need a solar generator so I can do this. So I took that and used it for that. I'll have to claim the income, but I don't get the 10% penalty. So yeah, like renewable energy or gold. I also bought an entire share. I was buying like $200 a month on autopilot of cryptocurrency through my I actually had enough where there was a dip on cryptocurrency and I actually purchased a full share of that. I would purchase gold before I did the BitCurrent, but if you have extras, and like I've said, if you have autopilot like $50 a month and there's an opportunity for $1,000 to just buy a full share, I would do that. So gold, you know, cryptocurrency if you want it to. People are using that as a safe haven. People think money is going to be digital because Amazon has a coin that they use for games. Libra got halted, but big players are trying to come into the market. And as soon as those big players that we're using come into the market, all of a sudden, and they can be traded for Bitcoin currency, but it's mass used, the prices are just going to shoot up. Right? So I think having some position, even if it's just like 5% of your disposable investment income, is a very smart thing to do for the future. Now, I've held this for like 3 years, right? So it's not some overnight thing, but it is what it is. That's just what I'm doing. I'm not a financial advisor. Anthony Ricardo say, Lisa, keep doing your thing. Stay blessed. You too, sir. Natasha, have money market from State Farm. Oh, good. But that's what I did. I took my money. I'm going to be like the rich people. I took my money. I'm not about to have the Dow Jones go from 23,000 to 8,000 and have to wait 100 years for it to get back up to 23,000. Okay? I'm not doing it. I legit think these billionaires want to buy up a whole bunch of cheap houses and become feudal lords. They're going to get their little bodyguards, tell us what to do. They're going to own the place. Let's make sure we can combat that. What do I think about tax liens? Tax liens are fun. I know people have done it. It's a bit of work. And you can come out on top, make $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 or get a property. So they work. It's just a learning curve. Just like if you live what I do, you need to learn what you're doing and whatnot. So what you could do now while this is going on is I would save your money. If you wanted to, or I'd also start, for those of you who haven't started yet, I'd start looking at potential markets. Now, I don't recommend just doing anything. I teach people how to look at markets and how to start searching for them. So, you know what? And I teach people how to search for them. And you can get that through my training. I actually, my audiobook just got approved through ACX. So I'm going to put a link to that. And I go over the fundamentals of purchasing and finding the right market, what the right market needs to have, investing out of state, investing long distance. Let me see if I can get that over to you guys. So here is, I sold 6 copies. I didn't even know. Well, you look at that. God is good. God is good. You need to be grateful for the 6, okay? I am grateful for 6 copies sold. But you can also do that. So that's what I would recommend. It's $11. You can do it. Or whatever it is. I don't know. They set the prices. I don't. How much they set it for? I can't see. Not here or there. But that's what I would do. Right now is being strategic. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to pounce? And what are you going to watch over the 12 months to see if it's a downward trend or not? Because you want to watch your market. Like, it's the one who hunts and who's the prey. There's markets I've been eyeing for years. And then when I get a client, I'm like, there it is. Right? Because I watch different markets. I don't tell you guys because I have a large enough platform. You guys would kill it and destroy it in a second. So that's what we do. Oh, you see me? Thank you, Alf281, if you're still on. So that's what I would do. And so, yeah, and so my clients are successful because I've been watching like 25 different markets over the years, and some were on top and now they're bottom, some were on the bottom, now they're top, and I'm like, this one's a go now, but it wasn't 6 years ago. So stalk your prey. Are you the hunter or the hunted? Right? And you can be strategic. You don't just throw a dart at the wall and find a market. No, you're strategic about it. Where do you live? How much money do you have to invest? What are you comfortable with? What kind of neighborhoods and demographics? And you can get all that. And I go over those main points in my book, and then my training, like investing at estate training on my website, will have more info on that. And I also have payment plans, which I never had before. So let me go on to... If you have any more questions, gold on the NYC is a way to invest in gold in the form of stocks. Yeah, an EFT, electronic traded fund. That's where it's like they have the assets in a vault and they add to the asset. So whatever the value of those many shares and the assets rise or fall. So if like the 10 tons of gold they have raises their price, your stock raises the price. That's a way to get into it, 5%. And that's been pretty consistent. And it's a really nice way of getting in on a cheaper level than buying actual physical and holding in a safety deposit box, which I pay about $40 a year for. It's easy to go in and out. Burnout says he's not a financial advisor. So let me see. There's any questions that you guys have on anything before I go on to the next part? Periscope, no. Anyone else? You guys understand? You guys understand where I'm coming from? Now, I just want to mention this. I mentioned it on my series. I am 100% in my head. I look at the coronavirus. I looked at what, so let's look at history. The corona, and this is now I'm going into preparedness. In China, I was watching videos. When they were telling us this is like the flu on the media, I'm watching videos of them welding people shut in China, spraying them down with disinfectant in the air. So I've been wearing my mask longer. I've been stocking up longer than most people here in this country. January, I was like, that's not a flu. It's that contagious? No. I don't care what you're telling me. And I want you guys to have two hats on. Your one hat is understanding that they are not going to scare you. Because if people thought right now there was going to be no food, they would break into your houses. They're already breaking into houses, right? They would do that in a heartbeat if they thought everything was hopeless. So you got to understand, on one hand, they're not going to scare people. On the other hand, the information's out there. And in China, what we saw, and in Italy, what we saw, food riots. People just didn't have money, especially in the poverty-stricken areas. They're raiding supermarkets. They're planning raids, and they're going to supermarkets. What else are you going to do if the government does not intervene and have lines and have food and giving you MREs? Okay? What else do you think is going to happen? That's Italy. It's a first world country with poverty-stricken areas. You know we have poverty-stricken areas in the rich areas. We don't even have to go far from it. So that's on the horizon. In China, they had to kill an entire stocks, thousands of birds and ducks because they didn't have feed because they stopped all trade and travel. So they couldn't get the feed from neighboring cities to feed all their ducks. They had to euthanize their ducks and euthanize their pigs during this lockdown. And they were way more draconian than we were. So they're facing food shortages. Vietnam, Thailand, the biggest exporters of rice where we get rice from, they're not giving out food. They're saying they're keeping it for domestic production. Brazil is stepping up on the meat, but everywhere you look, India, they're not, what was it? They're not, I think chicken. So India was a big supplier of chicken. They are having to slaughter there because they don't have the feeds that people, there was actually a rumor going through India in this one province that like the chicken spreads coronavirus. So all of a sudden the chicken farmers couldn't sell anything and he had to euthanize his crops as well. Right now there's going to be a global food shortages in this country. Look it up. First of all, the Department of Homeland Security sent a memo to the White House saying that they're warning of this is going to happen. And what's going on is that they had all the cows ready for slaughter, but they're going to commercial places because we used to eat 40% of our food in restaurants. But then all of a sudden, all the commercial places are shut down. All the restaurants are shut down. So they have no place to sell it. So they're like, it's not even economically feasible for me to take it to the processor to not have a market, and I can't split it up and just take it to retail because it's not packaged pretty. And they're giving some of it's valid because are regulated, but some of it, I saw a farmer who had all this squash in the field, And he's like, I'm just going to have to leave it. I'm like, you could have opened it up to the community, because I do pick your own all the time at all different types of farms. You could have said, safely stay 6 feet apart. Y'all can come pick these zucchinis. You're choosing to let it just go bad versus like having people pick it just because you can't find your workers. Oh, and that's another thing. Migrant workers are stuck at the border. There are ships with inventory and cargo that can't get in because we banned exports from different places. There is processing plants that just shut down. Smithfield Food, the largest producer of pork. 4 other processing plants in South Dakota, Pennsylvania, North Carolina had a bird flu that they just killed. This was like a week ago. They just killed 1 million, 2 million chickens. So at the worst time ever, we have all these bans. We don't have the workers. We don't have the exports to fulfill our stocks. So we're not going to get fruit from India like we do, or from Mexico like we did, because the borders are closed. That was their decision. And this is hitting at the worst time. They closed Smithfield Farm because 300 of their processors had COVID-19 or the bat flu or whatever you want to call it. Right? And so this is serious. So they're hitting us at peak time. No migrant workers, because they're the ones who did the work, are getting in. And not enough people, and fields are going fallow. And this is at the time where the demand is highest. Right? How do you not see a global food shortage? And so eventually you think these people working on the farm aren't going to get sick either? This stuff is highly contagious. And they're going to be out for 3 weeks. And that's if they, depending, hopefully if it's mild, they'll be up and working. But it is like a disease or illness where some people, it takes a long time to recover. So how do you not see global food shortages? If you go online, CNN, Fox News is like, we have enough food. But you got to have 2 hats. They're not going to tell you there's no food. But if you look at all the lines and all the food banks who are saying we're running out of food, that is thousands of people who are going to feel it first. We are going to feel it in 3 weeks from now, when all these farmers just let their crops lie because it's not economically feasible for them to harvest it and them not have a base to send it to. I went and got a share with 2 shares because I'm like, a food shortage is happening. I started a garden. I'm dehydrating all of I had a lot of frozen vegetables in the freezer. I took them all out. I dehydrated them to leave room for meat. I stocked up on some meat. I'm acting as if there's going to be a food shortage. I went and bought an extra, $350 worth of food because I literally in my head think this is going to happen. Me and my ex-husband are splitting because of the cost. Are splitting a veggie share, and we're splitting a meat share where you pay up front, but then you get a certain allocation each month. And we almost didn't get it because those were sold out. People who sort of know this is sort of on the rise, and were like, let me get a share. They only have 100 shares per local farm, or 180 shares per local farm. Some have like 2,000, but they're running out quickly because the people who are in the know what's coming. So I would say right now, preparedness series, if you don't believe it's going to be that bad and you think those shelves are going to get stocked with all this going on, don't listen to a word I say. But if you were smart, even if I'm wrong, and you bought as much as you could for the hard times that are coming, you can just eat that stuff throughout the year and just not have to go shopping, okay? You can just front load it. So if you can, I would get food. If you can, I would build a garden. I don't say this lightly. I just saw in Europe, in Greece, Portugal, England, there was a heavy snowfall the last couple of days. And all of the crops that they did have got frozen, which ruins the crop. Like, if y'all don't see that Mother Nature is trying to tell us we're not living sustainably and this is not the year, you are not paying attention. I think it's completely Mother Nature telling us to stop it. But yeah, that's what's going on. I genuinely in my heart believe it's a food share. My ex was just looking at me like, I think you're a little overreacting, but it's not going to hurt for us to do this, because if it does happen, we have a relationship with local farms. We have a relationship with local producers. We're not going to come to them late in desperation. We're going to come to them as someone who invested in their business. It is a different thing. So if you can and they're still available, I would highly recommend it. I'd also recommend your own garden. And I did stuff like, what if there was no food type stuff? So I did squash, zucchini, butternut squash, cauliflower, cabbage, stuff that's very hearty and it's very filling and that like you can, preserve. So let me get into the preparedness series a little bit more heavily. Any questions about the preparedness series? Oh, here's a link to the book. Oh, Jeff, it'll take a month to arrive. Okay. Hey, Natalie, Martel, Natalie Ann, if y'all are still on. I'm gonna go a little bit more into the preparedness. Now, Facebook is a little weird. Like, it's hard for me to, it's buggy. Is that just me? Is Facebook buggy with everyone in the evenings? Like, it just literally just gets stuck and stuck and stuck. Outcast card join. Okay, let me send this to Facebook. Will let me. Brand new computer. I'll post it in the notes to you later, so you'll get an alert. So let me go on to the other preparedness. So yeah, I'm 100. Like, how are you gonna have no exports, no migrant workers, fields going bad, food processors shutting down, coronavirus hitting during our peak season? We already don't have stockpiles of food. How are you gonna have all that and not have a food shortage? And even the food banks will tell you we are 1 week out. The only reason we had food is like at one food bank, I think in Pennsylvania, or was it Michigan, they had to call in the National Guard who came and brought food to help out so that they could feed people. Because the government knows if people don't eat, this country is lit. Like, it's ready for a revolution. They know that. So hopefully, if the food does come out, the different we all want people fed, okay? Hopefully the National Guard will come out, go to the food banks first, and hand out their food or their stockpile. Because we can't have hungry people. Because they're going to turn to their neighbors. Crime is up. Burglaries are up. It's already happening, right? So, I want to get into preserving methods because sometimes people don't know how to preserve foods, and I've done a lot of research on it. So I think this is really cool. So you can preserve lemon, oranges, and grapefruits, the citruses, in honey or sugar. So you can YouTube preserving lemon and honey, but what you can do is you can slice up the lemon. You can either coat it with sugar and then put the sugar in a very clean, sterile bottle and then cover it with sugar, and the sugar keeps it sterile and safe. So in the middle of winter, you can just pull it out. I like honey, so I'm going to do all honey, not sugar, because honey has so many medicinal purposes. But honey is a natural ancient preservative, so pretty much any fruit, you can slice it up and put in honey, and it'll stay good. The water content will be leached out of it. The honey does that, and there's no bacteria that will get in it or that can survive it, and it will stay suspended. It's like it's being suspended in resin, so... yeah, you can slice it up and put it in there. And so that's a good one. Fruits and vegetables, I think dehydration's best. I got a food dehydrator. Like I said, I had a lot of vegetables and fruits because for my smoothies, like in my freezer. I took them all out and I replaced it with meat, okay? Because I am convinced we're going to have food shortages. And the DHS report, Google it. I'm going to put a link to it right now. DHS warns of food shortage. DHS warns to prepare. DHS warning food shortage. So this isn't some it may cause some food shortages. So I don't know how you don't get. I'm going to add it to the YouTube page. So now I'm in full preparedness series. So there it is. It's from the DHS. But if you read right now, if you put food shortage, it's like this processing plant. Smithfield Food said it's going to be a disaster if it keeps going in the way it's going. Okay, so he's not a politician. He's not Trump trying to keep the masses. He's a business owner who's like, I need help. He's like, this is disastrous. That is like the first, if you put food shortage, that's what you're going to see. Please prepare like it is. If we're wrong, let me know we're wrong, okay? But you can eat your food later. You just want to front load it. So I went to like 3 different grocery stores. I did. And I took care of things with that. So let's talk about other things. So I did a food dehydrator. Food dehydrator is like $65. Really good investment. I did that. And you can either put them in a jar glass, but the best thing is to dehydrate, put it in a food saver. So I had an old one that I got from the thrift store like 5 years ago for $20, and I literally kept that thing for 5 years through like 4 different houses. And maybe even longer, like 8 years. You buy things from the thrift store, you want to use it, but you never do. I whip that thing out, and I'm dehydrating all the food I dehydrate. I'm putting in Food Saver, which is going to make it last even longer in small little batches, so I can take them out, use them, and put them back. And then you can vacuum seal the jars, which keeps it fresh longer. So it might have a 6-month life, but with vacuum sealing it, you can keep it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? As long as that's sealed and the oxygen's not getting in there to mess with it. Or degrade it. So I also invested. So that was the $20 Food Saver, which actually stopped working after about 5 hours. I actually purchased a new one, but they were sold out in a lot of places. But, because people who are in the know are preparing as if this is a global food shortage. The people who don't listen to CNN or Fox News, and CNN and Fox News aren't bad. Like I said, put your hat on. They don't want to scare people. Okay? You don't want to scare people. I want people fed. Because if people aren't fed, they're coming to whose house? Anybody's. Who's the easiest target? Oh, I'm also going to go into security too. Yeah, I did get a Food Saver. I think it's worth it. It's about $100 for that and the jar sealers. A standard Food Saver plus an extra $20 for a jar sealer. So that can just keep your dehydrated foods fresher. I think those are the best ones because you don't have freezer space. I know I don't. And honestly, you can't even buy a freezer right now because there are so many people have purchased them to stock up. Eggs, you can freeze them. You can freeze them flat in Ziplocs after whipping them up and then take them out and just scramble them and put them in baking. You can pickle them. You can water glass them where you preserve them, where you can just actually take it out and crack it. You need to do that with fresh eggs, though, because they have a coating on it. I just ordered from a local farm who's going to deliver them in a couple days. And I had to email them and say, don't wash them, please, because I want to preserve them. It was 6 dozen eggs from a local farm. So it was about $30. They're like $4.88 a dozen. It's worth it to be able to preserve them. You can put mineral oil on them, which is also reliant on fresh eggs that haven't been washed, so they have the coating on them, which is protective and makes it last longer. Meats, freezer, but if there is a power outage, you can always can them or smoke them. So some of you guys have smokers, some of you guys can, or you have your mason jars. So if there's a power, I thought there was going to be a power outage today because the wind was crazy. It was a severe thunderstorm that ran through the entire southeast portion of the country this morning. So that's going to be happening during this COVID stuff, right? Tornadoes are happening during COVID. This is no joke. This year is no joke. But if it does, the power does go out, and you don't want to waste all your food, like all the food I just stocked up on, I would can them. And YouTube's going to be your best friend. Dairy, you can freeze cream in a bag and just take off what you need. I actually purchased evaporated milk, which is actually cheaper because if you get a gallon of evaporated versus a gallon of regular organic, it's actually cheaper. But they actually, in one store, I bought some, then I went to buy some more. They raised the prices from one week to the next. So then I went to this other store where it was still cheap. So I go between these two stores where I can do grocery store pickup. And some places, their prices are rising, and I just go to the other place. So I would do that, too, if you want to save some money. Because you can save up to 30% on your grocery bills if you bounce them and off of each other. And I'm going to say for operational security, I don't want people at One Star seeing me buy too much, to be quite honest. I actually buy during the day when there's not a lot of people because I get a lot of foot traffic near my house at 6 o'clock in the evening. I'm actually being very cautious about it. Security-wise, I have ADT just because, I'm a single woman, which, with functioning cameras, but I actually went around all the houses and switched out all the broken light bulbs on. My house is fully lit. So it's just not an appropriate place for someone who wants to do anything nefarious. So make sure you're doing that, ladies. And get a gun. Or if you don't like guns, get a spear. Because if you have a spear and someone's trying to get in, that'd be some hardcore stuff, So, there's whole communities who, battled British forces in Africa with spears, successfully. They don't like telling you about that history, but if you want to look it up, you can, all right? So get a spear. That stuff is savage. So that's for security. And last thing I wanted to talk about on this one, there is more to talk about later, but I want to finish up the preparedness on we are all tired. I remember I talked to my ex, and he's working from home now, but he's also taking care of the kid during his, when he has, we do split 50-50. Exhausted. There's all these parents who are now working home and they have their kids exhausting. You can't take them out. You can't go here. You can't go there. Kids are inside, cooped up. They're acting up because they don't get fresh air. You know, my daughter watches YouTube for 2 hours. She doesn't listen the same as when she's running around outside. She's just a little bit more malleable and tired, right? Not wired and keyed up. And we're exhausted, okay? I was actually going to send a text to someone. I stopped. I'm like, I'm tired, okay? And you guys need to admit you're tired. Admit it. This is part of your preparedness, okay? Because this is going to be a rough 18 months. If you get your hat on around that, that's the mark I would put it at. I think by then there's going to be some semblance of normalcy. But we're 6 weeks in and I'm tired. I'm thinking about food shortages and gardening, and did I get the CSA, or I try to get a freezer, I can't get a freezer, can I get this, I can't get this. You know, the solar power generator I have doesn't ship until May 7th. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a storm on top. Exhausted, mentally exhausted. And so you got to admit that we are all tired. I talked to my ex and he was just like, ugh. I talked to my sisters, they're just like, my sister went, I have three sisters. One of my sisters went to the other one's house and she's always done up, always has her hair done. She's like that sister, always flies. She went over there looking like a troll doll, which is fine, you know, like love your hair any way it is, but she doesn't do that. But, you know, 4 weeks of being at home with the kids and working from home and not being able to just work, but you're taking care of a kid and cooking and cleaning because, you know, kids are messy. It is hard, okay? It is very hard. So we're all tired. We're exhausted, and we're only 6, 7, 8 weeks into this. Acknowledge that. So make sure you're managing stress, okay? Meditation, the best stress reliever on the planet that has so many benefits, from easing depression, curing back pain, easing addiction, calming, stress relief, opening your mind, everything. I think there's like 100 benefits is meditation. And even if you do it for 3 minutes, I started with 3 minutes. And then now I do it as needed. Like if I'm really tired, I'll meditate for 10 minutes because that energizes me, right? But what it does is slows your mind. It gets rid of the stress. And what it does when you're doing that, when you come back to, your mind is going to prioritize things better, and things that were overwhelming before just aren't, because you allowed your mind, your subconscious mind, the opportunity to go click, 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 click. This is what you do. And you come out and you're like, what was I stressed about? This is all going to be okay. Now, on the spiritual level, you know I'm a spiritual healer. I'm a very powerful spiritual healer. You guys think I'm playing until you work with me and you're like, did I just have an out-of-body experience? I'm like, yes, you did, because that's what I do. It gives you a chance to tap into your true self. Your true self is connected to the heavens. Meditation is the way for you to connect to that. The reason it works is because when you take that time, information that couldn't get through the clutter gets to come through, and that's why you know how to prioritize. That's why you think things are going to be okay. That's why you're so connected and grounded and centered, and people can't take you off of that center. You know, so that spiritual essence of what you're allowing yourself to do helps. And also pray and manifest the life you want. You know, mindset wise, I'm on a lot of prepper websites, and they're talking about, okay, we're going to go into starvation mode. We're going to ration our food and work on your mindset. Because my mindset right now is that I'm thriving. I'm tired and I'm busy, right? Because I'm trying to do a lot. But I'm also, my mindset, I'm thriving. So every day, if you need to pray for it, do the prayers. If you do manifestation techniques like I do, using waters and candles and crystal grids, do that. My stuff works. I'm really good at manifesting. I'm like plus 66 wizard level at this stage of my connectedness. Whatever it is, if it's vision boarding, keep your mindset, keep your meditation. We're all tired, but like I said, I didn't send that text. I was going to break it off with somebody, and I was like, girl, you're tired. You got like 4 hours of sleep. Don't send it. And the acknowledgement to myself that I was tired is what was also the acknowledgement that, would I make this tomorrow if I wasn't as amped up, right? And so if you can just acknowledge to yourself that this is stressful for everyone, when someone acts rude to you, it's different when you go, everyone is really stressed out, how you might react, versus if you're not consciously aware of that and you're thinking that things are normal and it's not. People are very stressed out and they're on edge, you know? So it's something that needs to be a part of your preparedness, because a month into now, and these shortages I'm talking about are real and the real deal, you're gonna want to start practicing that now versus later, because then it'll be more of a tool and resource versus a new learning curve. So that is what we have going on. So that's my preparedness for today. I sent this out to my email list. I got like 60 responses of people who are like, this is great. and I will list. Okay, let me list right now to my blog post. So the email I sent yesterday was like water storage, energy storage, solar power. It was this. It was everything I've done over years, and so people found it pretty helpful. So let me list to that. So if you're interested in that and just want to see what I've done for my preparedness, because I'm, pretty fully prepared, you can go ahead and look at that there. So I added that there. I'll try to, on Facebook, I'll add it later, but right now it's glitchy and won't let me add anything without like crashing my screen. Here. Oh, wow. I finally, Periscope in the house. So here, Periscope, I'll put those links in if you're interested. Yeah, so that's what we're on the preparedness front. That's it for today. I am going to do more preparedness. I actually have winter preps. Like, what am I going to do for winter? I'll just tell you right now. Like, electric blankets. They're like $16, $20, $25. Electric blankets. Solar power generators. And little space heaters that are electric. So I even have stuff for like going into winter, like what if something bad happens and they don't have people. Natasha says, see buy houses. Hi, what about silver? I had silver before. I don't invest in it now. Gold has intrinsic value because of what happened during ancient times. And during ancient times, gold was mined by all the gods and beings, and I don't want to sound crazy, so you know what? Silver is a great resource, but gold has a value bigger, spiritually bigger than what. And to me, that's why gold retained its value throughout so many cultures. And so now I just focus on that. And silver hasn't gone anywhere in 10 years. It's like the same place. Did I know Smithfield was bought out by China? Yeah, and that's significant because China bought Smithfield Farm, the pork producer, so part of the food that they were distributing to the U.S. they could distribute to China, and best believe they're going to keep up that Chinese distribution if they can, because all the farmers and the chickens in China had to be euthanized because during the winter they couldn't get feed. I mean, yeah, this is crazy. I'm saying. China had to kill half of its pork from another swine flu that hit before the coronavirus. Yes, I was aware that they purchased Smithfield and that they were routing a portion of because they were the largest pork producer, to the Chinese market, which is probably stifled right now. But, Smithfield literally said this is a disaster if it keeps going, and it is going to keep going. So really prepare. Be the leader in your family. You know what? Half people think you're crazy, right? But this is going to be something where you not doing something because people thought it was crazy, but you thought it might be a possibility, can really, really hurt you and your family. Can you grow garden indoors as well? Yes. I have roommates that I don't want taking from my supply. Plus it's crazy. Oh, you might get them on board. But yes, look up New York gardens, because New Yorkers figure out ways to garden in a small place. How long does the sugar honey method stay good for? I think it's forever. It's forever. Like at least a year. It's an ancient preservation system. I love honey. Part of my preps, I need to buy more honey. I use honey every day. It just makes your oatmeal or your grape nuts or Raisin Bran cereal taste way better. Yeah, Cosmic Wisdom answered that. Cosmic Wisdom said the evaporated milk prices are jacking up. I stocked them on that in Feb. Yes, I saw it 1 week to the next. I was like, you went from 70 to 100? A spear? Yes, Ebony. Because like if shit hit the fan and you don't got a gun, what's a spear gonna do? Like, I'm not gonna approach anybody who has a spear. I'm not. Like, that is like for real. Natasha says, small world. I did vision boarding with my family yesterday. Yes. You can choose. So I'm on all these sites and comments are like, hey, you might not want to hear this, but my mindset, what my programming is, I'm going to thrive during this. Okay? That's my programming. I'm going to say it until I believe it. I'm going to write it until I believe it. I'm going to crystal grit it until I believe it. I'm going to burn candles until I believe it. I'm going to, those are my methods for manifesting. I'm going to speak it because my voice is extremely powerful for me manifesting. So me just talking about things with excitement is enough to like program that stuff into my reality. Over it says thank you. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's it. How did you guys like the preparedness? You know, sometimes you sort of hesitate to like add stuff that's not directly like real estate investing related because that's what my platform's for. So, how did you guys like the preparedness stuff? Hey, how are you? Oh, you're gonna have to go to my YouTube channel if you want to see the whole thing because you just joined. Just look up affordable REI on YouTube. So first we went lessons from the Depression and the recession about the downward prices on homes and when I would purchase personally. Once the government stimulus is stopped, they're going to be rock bottom prices. And some of the banking behavior and them tightening up loaning standards. And then I went into preparedness. So tell me, how'd you guys like the preparedness? Y'all still on? How'd y'all like it? This takes a long time to like. Came in late. All the things you said in your last prepper video is popping up. All yes, girl. Moji, Sola, yes. I'm dead serious. Trust me when I say this is going to be a very crazy 2020. It's supposed to be 2020. We're supposed to be sustainable. You know, I'm an angelic healer. I channel angels. You can do it too if you wanted to. I just did the practice for the last 4 years, and over 4 years of doing it, you get more and more. You get powerful at it. And they're like, this is a cleansing. This is a cleansing. This is a cleansing. So, you know, program your mindset on what you want to see. Tell me, Moji, are you preparing for the food shortages? Yes, everything that we were talking about, they're now starting to talk about on the main news. They're not going to say it's over, but let me know if you're preparing for it. Over it says I have 2 vision boards and I'm waiting to get my new boards photos in the mail. Yes! Please upload pictures of that. Natasha, thumbs up. Cool, you liked it. Over it says, I think it was a wonderful and valuable live stream. New to the channel and so glad I subbed. Yes, good. I'm glad the preparedness and the financials, the history lessons of the Depression, which is here. Everold Barat said very good advice. Thank you, Everold. Cosmic wisdom. I'm loving these prepper vids. And people were saying I was crazy when I was stocking up on the seeds for my garden, and now in some states you can't get them yet. I need to go buy seeds tomorrow. I don't even like going out in public. I don't even like wearing those stupid masks. It's just so uncomfortable. But I'm like, shoot, I need spinach, I need chard, and I need the cauliflower for this other part of my garden, and it's sold out in places. And this doesn't just necessarily, you know what I mean? Natasha said, I enjoyed the content and preparedness. Keep up the great work. Okay, I might do a couple more preparedness videos. But definitely read the prepper, the blog posts I listed on my prepper edition series number 2, because that's when I really just went step by step into everything I've done to prepare. Energy, power, water, foods, storing the foods. Okay, so this is like part 3. Okay, this is 3. Look at that, see number 2, and it's in the notes as well. Sunshine said A-okay. Jason Turner said 2 thumbs up for the preparedness info. Good. I'm always nervous about introducing, people are multifaceted. I'm a healer. That's a big part of my life. I do healings every day with people, opening up portals to their souls. And then I'm a prepper too. And I'm like, I'm telling you right now, I'm super prepared for this, but I feel like I need to let you guys know. I just don't want our community being last. Don't be last, be leaders. I don't care if you look crazy. I look crazy. I was wearing masks when no one else was wearing them. It doesn't matter. We can't go by what other people think when we know in our hearts that this is the best thing to do for ourselves. Love yourself enough to be that person be saw as crazy, but you're taking care of yourself. Love yourself enough for that. And I do have a lot of self-love. I'm not going to lie. Maybe too much. Moji said, I shared your info with close friends and family and starting to prepare, and I'm going to get pot. Yes! I literally got a whole garden. I did pay somebody to dig it out. It was like $75. Worth it. Thank you. So you missed this, Moji. I said if there's a power outage, because we just had crazy severe weather come through. I thought it would happen today. If in a power outage, be prepared to can the meats. We are not letting our food go to waste, okay? So just be prepared for that eventuality if it happens and you don't have like a solar generator to keep your refrigerator going until the power comes up. Because remember, if the power goes down, it might take some time for it to get back up. Not like in the olden days where for me it'd be a day because I'm near the center of the city. We don't know who's out sick, right? Over it said, I would love to hear more about your spiritual work. I do have a separate channel. Let me send that to you. Yeah, no, do one of my healings. I like when people do my energy healings because they're like, that was so... I'm tooting my own horn, but I'm really good at this. So I'm just going to be real honest. Like, I like when people do my stuff because they know I'm the real deal, right? They're like, what? Lisa, did you just reach, here, let me send you that link. So this is actually part of my sole purpose too, is sort of to uncover these gifts and spread it to the world. So some of us are equipped to like just be tapped into the source, but we're also given the ability to speak and to communicate and to build rapport and trust so that we can disseminate it. And then when I disseminate that information to those who are willing to listen, they can go and disseminate it to those who are willing to listen to them. So it's like it's self-propagation. So I'm so glad you told them, yes, there's going to be food shortages. You know what? Since you said that, I lied a little. I said I bought $350 worth of food. I bought $700. I literally think there's going to be a food shortage. Okay? So what do you do? And honestly, I ran out of space. If I had more space, I would do more preparing. But I also got a CSA and I got a meat share CSA. We paid up front for that and split the cost. And I did that so that we are going to be supplied by a local farm as long as they don't come down with a sickness throughout the summer. Otherwise, I'd probably be doing more, but I ran out of room and I could just let the food come now. Over it says, thank you. No digging needed. Watch Return to Eden. You'll be amazed. It's on YouTube. It blew my mind. What's it about, Uncle Buck? By the way, more than 40,000 customers lose power as storms. Yes. Yes. I thought I was going to lose power today. It was a fierce thunderstorm that went through. It woke me up because something fell, like a branch or something. It woke me up at 6:40. I looked, I saw like, what the heck? The earth is saying so much to us right now. It's cleansing. So everyone just learn spiritually to stay centered, create the life you want. Tell yourself you're either going to thrive or it's going to be stressful. But whatever you tell yourself is the programming you give to your mind. And it is a programming, right? You are programming your mind. I'm thriving. I feel like I just followed my intuition and I've been very intuitive. And then I woke up and I was like, all those times where I was like, just do this, just do this. And it's all about just loving yourself enough. It's loving yourself enough to look crazy even when other people look at you crazy. Okay? So that's what it's about. It's about loving yourself even when other people think you're crazy because you know it's the right thing. So what do we see? Love the preparedness. Oh, good. Then I'll continue my preparedness when it's like new stuff. We purchased, Cat's Up on Periscope said, we purchased MREs not long ago. Girl, can you purchase some more? Can you purchase some more? Can you purchase some more? I know, good. I'm so glad you did it. But freeze-dried food is sort of hard to come by. You can literally buy a food dehydrator for $64. You can buy $100 worth of frozen vegetables, and you can dehydrate those. I'd also do the food saver, so it sucks all the food out and keeps it in nice little packages, because that'll seal it for the next 18 months, not just 6 months. But yes, if you can, act like there's going to be a food shortage for significant months, and that's going to cause some issues. So I'm going to go deeper into security. And the spiritual aspects of things, physical distancing, even more so than I did today in the next preparedness, because once you have all these things and you're preserving, that's the next. So I've been busy because I know this stuff is coming, but I hope I can share this with my community. I don't want us, like in Katrina, you had a lower income black populace that had been, it's very oppressive in Louisiana. They try to keep you where you are. They are not trying to help you integrate or go above. They like people being at a certain socioeconomic disadvantage. And you saw them asking for help and no one would come and help. And it just hurts seeing them needing that help. And ever since then, I'm like, okay, we can do this. We can do this. So a lot of this is just like, I don't want my community to be last. When I'm in these prepper groups, I'm like 3 of black people, okay? But there's like 5,000 white people who are on this journey, and it's just like, we got to do it too. You know what I mean? And we can do it. And I said this on my first video. If you want to watch the first prepper video, we're leaders. The people I attract to my audience are leaders. So lead. So if you look crazy, but you know what's right for you and your family, lead. Okay? If people look at you crazy, but you know it's right for what's going to help you guys through this project, lead. Be a leader. And that means doing uncomfortable shit even when everyone else isn't. And you're the only one and you're by yourself. But in your heart, you know that this is going to protect you. That you're doing this now where you're investing in real estate looking for alternative sources of income. Oh, and Kat, you might want to go to my YouTube channel and catch the first part, because I talk about when I would start buying again. And lessons from the depression and the recession I think you might find really, really useful. Okay? So yeah, that's what I want to do. And with that, I gotta go. I'm hungry. I've been talking forever, but yeah, I'm so glad you guys liked the preparedness video. Sometimes I think like, I don't know. I'm like, was I supposed to do preparedness? You know, because I'm always having conversations with God. Is that what you wanted me to do? Maybe he did. Maybe he wanted me to do this. Maybe all this was for this moment so that I can help my audience with preparedness so we can get through the apocalypse or the end times that's happening, but we can do it thriving. And, you know, lately, like I said, we've been 4 to 6 weeks ahead of everything. So if you follow my advice and do what I say, I've been 4 to 6 weeks ahead of all of this. And I'm going to stay 4 to 6 weeks of all of this because all the groups I'm a part of, we're all looking at the historical, we're looking at what happened in China, and we're basically following China and Italy, like right on schedule. So if you want to know what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. The rating on the food markets, 3 weeks, like they did in Italy. Okay? Like, what else are people going to do? You know Americans. Let me see. Any more? Thank you for. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that you came through. And with that, I'm out. Bye, guys. Oh, and if you want, join my YouTube membership. It's $2 a month, and then I just do an extra live stream with member-only questions and answers. It might go into preparedness. Last week it was like in leadership, and this week, you know, preparedness. So, yeah, go ahead and join that if you like. It's $2. You can just go to my main webpage on YouTube and just join. And there's other tiers as well, but I made it accessible and affordable for anyone, even during the this economic recession. And I love you guys. I'm so glad you're taking this to heart. I just can't express to you how I'm so certain this is like what we're going through. So just please, even if you look crazy, just, I mean, do it because we need good people like us surviving this and thriving in it. They need people like us to thrive, right? We have heart-centered. We know how to work with people. Like, it matters when people like us are on top, okay? Versus other people who might not have as big of a heart or empathy or caring for the community. So when we can lead, we can take care of our own, okay? All right. So Lisa, out. See you later. Love you, YouTube.